You don't need to waste a single moment plotting revenge or chasing after those who hurt you. Life has a way of balancing the scales with a precision that's almost breathtaking. The people who betrayed you, lied to your face, or walked away while you were still bleeding. They might think they've outsmarted the universe, but they're playing a dangerous game. Karma doesn't operate on your timeline, and it doesn't rush to meet anyone's expectations. It's patient, methodical, and relentless. It doesn't overlook a single wound, a single tear, or a single night you spent wondering where you went wrong. It gathers every piece of your pain and weaves it into a lesson that will find them when they're least prepared. Let's take a step back and really unpack this. You showed up with everything you had, your heart wide open, your loyalty unshakable, your honesty raw and unfiltered. You gave a kind of love that didn't need validation, a kind of trust that didn't come with conditions. While they were busy scheming, manipulating, and calculating their next move, you were steady. You cared deeply without keeping a scorecard. Sure, you weren't perfect, nobody is, but you were real. And that realness, that authenticity, was something they couldn't wrap their heads around. In a world that often calls vulnerability a weakness and kindness a flaw, you chose to be different. That's not just courage, that's a kind of mental and emotional strength most people can't even fathom. But then they turned your openness into something they could exploit. They took your trust and twisted it into a tool for their own gain. They saw your loyalty and thought they could use it as leverage, bending it to serve their ego. When they were done, they walked away without a backward glance, acting like you were nothing, like everything you gave meant nothing. And now maybe you're sitting there, scrolling through their social media, seeing their smiles, their new friends, their carefully curated lives, and it feels like a punch to the gut. How can they be out there thriving while you're still putting yourself back together? Let me tell you something. They're not thriving. They're performing. There's a world of difference between the two. Those people aren't at peace. They're running from it. They're stacking distraction upon distraction, new relationships, new adventures, new bursts of validation, to drown out the quiet voice inside that knows exactly what they did. That voice doesn't lie. It shows up when the music stops, when the crowd goes home, when the world gets still. It whispers in the moments they can't escape. Late at night, when they're alone with their thoughts, or in the pause between one high and the next. That's when karma begins its work, not with loud, dramatic gestures, but with a slow, steady unraveling of their illusions. It's the weight of their own choices pressing down, the realization that they traded something real, something rare, for something shallow and temporary. Karma isn't some mystical force out to punish people for the sake of it. It's the law of balance, as certain as gravity, as inevitable as time. You plant seeds of betrayal, you grow a harvest of regret, you sow lies, you reap emptiness, you water manipulation, you don't get to pick peace from the branches. They might not feel the consequences today, they might not feel them tomorrow or even next month, but those seeds are taking root, growing quietly beneath the surface. And when they finally break through, the harvest will be undeniable. The universe doesn't forget. It's patient, strategic, and it always delivers. You don't need to interfere, wish them harm, or try to speed up the process. Your job isn't to make them pay, it's to make yourself whole. Let's shift the focus to you because you're the one who matters here. Their betrayal doesn't define your worth. It exposes their lack. You didn't lose when they walked away. You gained the space to become something greater. They didn't leave because you weren't enough. They left because your depth made their shallowness uncomfortable. Your authenticity held a mirror to their emptiness, and they couldn't stand the reflection. You didn't scare them with weakness. You challenged them with a kind of strength they weren't ready to face. Your love, your loyalty, your realness. That's power. And power like that doesn't dim just because someone couldn't handle it. So what do you do now? You rise, not to prove them wrong, not to show off for the world, but because staying stuck in their betrayal is a slow kind of self-destruction. You take every ounce of pain they left you with and turn it into fuel. Let their lies sharpen your ability to see through people. Let their absence teach you who deserves your energy and who doesn't. Let their betrayal become the foundation for boundaries so strong that no one will ever cross them again. You're not here to shrink because someone couldn't handle your light. You're here to grow, to build, to become so unshakable that their choices can't touch you. One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is forgiveness. Now hold on, forgiveness isn't what you might think. It's not about letting them back into your life or pretending their betrayal didn't happen. It's not about giving them a free pass or saying what they did was okay. Forgiveness is about you. It's about refusing to let their actions live rent-free in your heart and mind. It's about cutting the chains that keep you tied to their mistakes so you can move toward your purpose with nothing holding you back. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy load of bricks. You can't climb the mountain of your destiny when you're weighed down by someone else's choices. Forgiveness isn't a one-time decision, it's a process. Some days you'll feel it deeply, like a weight lifting off your shoulders. Other days you'll have to choose it again, even when it feels impossible. But every time you choose forgiveness, you're taking back your power. You're saying, you don't get to control my peace. You don't get to shape my future. You don't get to keep me stuck in the past. You're clearing out mental and emotional space to focus on what truly matters. Your growth, your goals, your joy. Forgiveness doesn't mean they win. It means you're done playing their game. It's a sign of emotional intelligence, a marker of mental strength, a choice to live with clarity instead of chaos. Now let's be honest. There are moments when it feels like they're getting away with everything. You see their posts, their laughter, their new life, and it hurts. You wonder if karma's even paying attention, if justice will ever show up. Trust me, it's already at work. What you're seeing is a performance, not the truth. Nobody posts their regrets. Nobody shares the nights they lie awake wondering what they lost. Nobody captions their loneliness or the quiet ache that follows them. But those moments are there, and they're heavier than any filter or smile can hide. They might look like they're soaring, but inside they're unraveling. Karma doesn't always arrive with a bang. Sometimes it's subtle, a doubt they can't shake, an emptiness they can't fill, a life that looks perfect but feels hollow. They might never admit they were wrong. They might never apologize or give you the closure you think you need. And that's okay. You don't need their confession to move forward. You don't need their regret to reclaim your worth. Your healing is your closure. Your peace is your power. Your progress is the response they never saw coming. Think about what they lost when they walked away. It wasn't just you. They lost something far rarer. They lost someone who loved without keeping score, who showed up with loyalty in a world full of games, who offered a kind of depth most people spend their lives chasing. They traded that for something shiny, something fleeting, and they'll feel that loss in waves. Not all at once, but in the quiet moments, when the party's over, when the applause fades, when they're lying in bed and the silence is deafening. That's when your absence hits hardest. That's when they realize they didn't just walk away from a person, they walked away from truth, from clarity, from something sacred. Your job now is to keep moving forward. Build a life so full, so aligned, so radiant that their absence becomes irrelevant. Surround yourself with people who don't just tolerate your love, they cherish it. Set standards so high that only those with integrity can meet them. Work on yourself, your mind, your heart, your soul, not to prove anything to them, but to honor the person you're becoming. While they're out there chasing likes, followers, and validation, you're cultivating something deeper, purpose. While they're running from their truth, you're walking in yours. While they're performing for the world, you're building for yourself. One day life will hold up its mirror, and they'll see what they lost. Not because you fought back, not because you called them out, but because your light shines brighter without them. They'll see you thriving, not just surviving, but truly living. And it'll hit them harder than any revenge you could have planned. They'll realize they didn't just lose a person, they lost a foundation, a presence, a kind of love that's rare in a world full of fakes. And that realization will weigh on them. Not because you made it happen, but because life always tells the truth. You're not the victim of their betrayal. You're the proof that real strength rises above it. You're the evidence that karma works, not just in their consequences, but in your comeback. So let them keep their masks, their stories, their temporary wins. You've got something they can't touch, a soul that's healing, a heart that's growing, a life that's unfolding into something they'll never get to claim. Keep your focus forward. Let karma do its work. Let life deliver its truth. The greatest response to betrayal isn't revenge. It's a life so powerful, so peaceful, so true that their choices can't dim your light. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. And that's the loudest truth of all.